It's so bad.
You don't like my song?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
How you doing?
And welcome to You Don't Even Know.
I'm Josiah Brainerd.
I'm Jordan Brainerd,
I'm Justin Brainerd.
and we have two guests tonight.
Returning back from, I don't know, 30 episodes ago or something. We have one of our brothers, Jacob Brainerd. Say hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And a new guest. We have the VP of Sales from Vertical Computers, Brian Gillette.
Yes. Hello.
There he is. That's his name. That's his voice. Get used to it.
Yeah.
Accept it.
And tonight is a bit of a different episode. If you were expecting the usual hilarious comedy podcast,
No.
tune out.
Yeah.
We're down to the nitty-gritty, the serious stuff.
Today, we're having a battle royale of epic proportions.
Other people might call it a debate, but
But
they
not
don't
us.
They don't have Justin.
yeah, Justin's
It's-
not on their team.
it's a death match.
Celebrity death match.
Yeah.
Desk match.
Desk match.
I was told this was going to be quite lighthearted before I...
This is lighthearted.
That's true. That is what I told Brian to get him on the show. I said, no, it's lighthearted.
it's
It's a
super-
comedy podcast. It'll be
Everybody
fine.
just love and friendship. I'm sure we'll throw some Skittles in the air and it'll be a gas.
And now Brian
You'll
is
love
staring
it.
at Justin wearing boxing gloves.
Yeah. So everybody lace up for the first and possibly only YDEK deathmatch. Sales versus advertising.
So what I would like to do really quick is give Brian the floor for a few minutes to, talk about your, credentials and why you are the expert of your field and, a bit about what you do and how you do it.
Why I am allowed to debate about why sales is good.
Yeah,
Okay.
prove yourself before you take the floor.
Sure. Well, all right. My name is Brian. I've
Oh.
been a salesperson
Hi, Brian.
for,
Nice.
for, I don't know, eight years or so,
Okay.
on and off in professional sales. I've gone through many different types of sales, started in kind of door-to-door, ice-cold sales selling catering for a Mexican restaurant.
Nice. You were like the taco cart guy.
Kind of, sure.
Nice.
A white taco cart guy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I did that.
Yeah,
I
cut
did
that
that
out.
for some time. Do you want metrics? Do you want to know how much money I made or no?
No.
Okay, good.
Doesn't matter.
Because I signed an NDA. For the,
Do you guys want this? You can't have it.
anyway, yeah, I sold TVs, sold houses. I was on an uptick, and then started selling TVs again. Now I sold the very expensive business loans.
Yeah.
Now I sell IT services and things. There you go.
Cool.
I'm satisfied.
Good.
So I guess my question for you that I would like to know about is why, how do I phrase it? I can't think of a good way to phrase this question. What's interesting about the way you do what you do,
Oh, sure. Well, sales in general is a very bitter subject for the average buyer. And there's kind of an internal struggle between the salesperson and the person buying that has naturally been very negative. My sales process comes from my sales training, and then just from years and years of people rejecting me, I've honed the ability to actually make it a symbiotic experience. But I do that by making the sales process really about the person who's buying and trusting that if there's not a sale in an exchange, to just kill the exchange and move on to another one and spend more time prospecting for somebody that actually needs what I'm selling. Mm-hmm. Versus trying to convert every single conversation into dollars.
Yeah, just to sell them something they absolutely don't need. You
Totally. Yeah.
try to give them a product that they actually need.
Yeah.
It's more like helping people instead of selling people.
Yeah, I'm one part therapist, I'm one part psychologist, I'm one part counselor, one part bully, maybe, depending on, the situation.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, Justin.
Justin's so eager.
Yeah.
So should we set some ground rules here? Should we set some criterion? Like, what are we trying to accomplish right now exactly?
We hope to establish to whoever may be listening,
Whomever.
by the end of this remaining, 30, 40 minutes, that they would put their business dollars against either a better advertising budget or a better sales budget.
Got you.
So those are the people. Or you know what? I didn't realize an excellent sales team could be so helpful. I should probably have invest in that direction. Or I didn't realize advertising could be so effective. I should invest in that direction.
Sure.
So maybe they'll come away believing both and want to spend money with, but we're going to go with one is better than the other for today.
Sure. Okay.
So you both want to come away from this with a job offer.
Yeah. Or a couple bruises or like a bloody lip.
I think I would just be happy if you were humiliated.
I would like that.
I don't need to win. I just need you to lose.
That would be excellent. I would like everybody to just walk away from this furious and spitting.
I'd be fine if we never spoke again.
Said like a true salesman.
Because all I do is get your money and leave, right? That's my job, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Do I just kick this off? Can I just start slinging some cold hard facts?
I'm so ready. So just tell me when you want to take the leash off, and I'll be just fine.
Well, let me start here. Most of my sales experience has been completely unsupported. And by unsupported, I mean I have an owner who says, go find money. In fact, my first boss literally used the phrase, go find money, and would actually push me out the door of the restaurant. And I would come back with people wanting to buy our burritos and sell catering. And I did that. We had a marketing department, and they gave me the flyers that I handed out. But often I didn't leave a single flyer. I left them my name and a menu or something, right? And obviously they have to know what food, they have to know something about the product, right? Before they give me any money. But that's what I did. And, I was very successful in that field. I was 18 at the time. I didn't have any training at all. I didn't have any college education. I had no support. I had no subordinates. I had nothing. I had the responsibility to create money, and if I didn't, I was fired. And that fear was a forge to create the ability to actually communicate a value. What I did have from my marketing department, to be honest, was for the most part completely futile. It was attempting to construct a narrative towards this, focus group driven, fake, not real conglomerate buyer who had nothing to do with the people I was really interacting with. And they needed to hear a real person explain to them in their world and in their space why they needed what I had. I don't know. Do I keep talking, or do you respond now? I don't want to monopolize here, is what I'm getting at.
I've never moderated a debate before, so.
Well, what they usually do is they give each person a time limit.
It's your turn, Justin. Go.
Okay, so here's how I feel based upon that statement. Is that's an excellent example of relationship marketing, in that you have a human that goes out and creates a relationship with the customer base, and then he says, hi, I'm Brian. Hey, let's work together and make solutions together, and we'll build a better tomorrow, you and my product. But the problem is that I've seen so many times is that company establishes a relationship with that salesperson, not that brand. So if that salesperson goes off to a competitor item set or just something else in an adjacent market, they just walk away with that. They have a relationship with him, not necessarily the brand itself.
I've done that.
So I've done it as well, because I had a relationship with the salesperson and I loved him, and he was the guy that took care of me, not the... So what I've seen advertising do is, and I'll use a generic example for sake of example
Yeah,
that
sure.
everybody's heard of. And it's my thesis that advertising is relationship marketing, but you're creating a relationship with that logo or that slogan that you have a relationship with that Apple. Like, you know him. That those computers are the best. You don't know why, but you do know why.
Sure.
So we'll use the example for right now, very sky level, of Apple, where Apple made an ad that didn't tell you how awesome the hardware software integration of iTunes and the iPod was, or that the click wheel was truly revolutionary as a navigation point. But they just had white headphones dancing. You knew that MP3 player, you not only wanted it, but it was the best one on the market, and no one had to tell you that. And it was just white earbuds.
But that was after someone already told you that.
But everybody saw it, and it completely, nobody had it first. They said Apple has the best MP3 player, and now even today, people will tell you, the Apple acolytes will say that their computers are better. But on a spreadsheet, when you take specs up against a PC of an equivalent cost, it's not as effective a machine. But in their mind, it's better because they have a relationship with the brand.
Sure.
So, and that's where, and that, from that perspective, it'll carry through, and Apple doesn't have to go out and convince people that they need that product, because everybody, as far as the push-pull relationship is concerned, everybody's going, I need this one because it's better, and I've been socialized through advertising to know that it is.
But there was a time in Apple's history that they did have those guys, Steve Wozniak, all the lower guys, sitting in conventions as salesmen going, this product's good and this is why.
But when you're at a sales convention and you're establishing a relationship as the relationship salesperson, what does everybody want when they talk to the salesperson? They want, because you have a relationship with them, now they want the buddy deal. So now it boils down to how low can you come for me, because we get coffee together and you're my buddy now. So can you get me a deal? Not necessarily based upon the features, or that's not benefit advertising anymore. That's just, can you get me the buddy deal? Nudge, nudge.
Sure.
Everyone's obsessed with deals. So.
But see, and I take advantage of that sales guy 8 days out of the week. I have no problem taking advantage of that idiot because he doesn't know how to do his job. Okay, I think you have a fantastic point. And as a former supervisor of mine would have responded, he would have said, that's a fantastic answer to a different question. So to the average listener here who's tuning in, you have to understand that the two statements that were just made were both great points on completely different scales. So for starters, I introduced the concept of a small business, unfunded, unstructured, really no metrics, no materials, right? Just a product dropped in a sea of people with money. How do you get that product to those people, and how do you get that money into the business, right? Versus a very, very well-funded, publicly traded, multi-million-dollar business who already has market share, so they can actually afford to disassociate brand with product and associate brand with value. So now they have an existing client base that they can say, dear Apple users, you're better than them because your headphones are white. That's the message. And you know what? It's a great message. Here's my question to you, and I think Jordan he poked at this concept. How did they get there? How did they get the $20 million for that national ad campaign? How does Mr. Small Businessman write that check?
Features and benefits advertising.
I don't know what that means.
Basically you have well-targeted advertising based upon the publics that you would be most interested in buying your product.
Oh, sure. You're saying rather than
you have a targeted ad in PC Gamer or Macworld,
totally,
that specifically articulates what those people are going to what's going to make them want to buy the product.
And I have no qualms with a features and benefits marketing campaign. In fact, they're what give me more competitive salespeople who are higher performers that I can steal from other companies because I can give them inbound channels. However, let me ask you this. They watch the commercial.
Yes.
Apple, think different. Oh my gosh, I have to think different. I'm going to be cooler than everybody else.
Yeah.
Apple.com. How do I buy this? Okay, here's the, this is before e-commerce, right? Okay, here's the phone number. Here's what I call. What happens now? Steve Jobs answers the phone?
Yeah. And you're already so hot
From
for
the
Bob
grave.
because you sat through the commercials.
Yeah,
and you're
so,
like,
so you're ready to buy, but
please give me one.
But now what happens? Who answers the phone?
is the salesperson.
The salesperson. So I would argue that the marketing campaign is no better than the weakest link, which is the guy who converts it into a credit card number. Okay? Now, obviously, this argument could very easily be countered with the concept of e-commerce, and I'm very well aware of that. Or channel partners,
where you
blah,
could
blah.
just click buy.
Right,
And
click
like,
buy
for
and-
instance, Amazon.
and it's already in your bed in 15 seconds.
Click buy.
Right.
So there isn't that human API where they already know they love it. They go on Amazon and we see the world trending in this direction where the two of the three biggest companies in the world, Google, one of them, 90% of its income is from ad revenue.
Sure.
And Amazon, the third biggest or second, depending on the day, biggest company based upon I want this right now and it appears on my door.
Totally. So for Amazon, one of the largest companies in the entire world, I think a sales force is absolutely obsolete. But of course, Mr. One-man, 5-employee business owner who doesn't really have access, who doesn't really have the distribution, doesn't really have the competition in the e-commerce world. Because guess who's smoking them out? Amazon. Because you can buy freaking anything on Amazon. You can buy raw materials. You can buy... I just bought a table from one of our customers, who I probably shouldn't name, but one of our customers is a furniture manufacturer, and I bought it on Amazon. Didn't even realize that they were one of our customers until I was reading the receipt of purchase, and I went, oh, I wonder if I could have just called those guys.
It was just right there. It was just so available.
So obviously Amazon is, Amazon is an empire that's one day going to run for president. But before they got there, how were they making it happen? Salespeople is my argument.
Did salespeople go out there and shill Amazon, or did people get lots of ad exposures online of buy books here on Amazon.com? And
Sure.
I would submit that there was a heavy exposure online based upon cookies that people had Amazon.com following them around going, I really should buy that book here. It was one guy at a desk. Amazon has only been an empire within our lifetime. So to think that Amazon has always been this fixture where, it was Bezos sitting behind a Costco desk going like, hello, this is Jeff, but there was that moment where he sat there and slung it. And so at what scale, where's that break point? Consider this as just kind of a metaphor, I suppose. Advertising, in my heart, I always consider to be like turning your brand into the pretty girl at prom. Like the prettiest girl at prom. She doesn't need to wear a name tag anymore. Okay? But there's the other boy who is always selling himself to all the girls that don't necessarily know they want to go to the prom with him yet. So he's trying to explain his way in. And eventually one of them might be like, well, you're going to take me out to dinner later and we're getting a limo. And here's all the ways you're going to, save me on dinner so for the evening. And so he has to be the sales force. But as far as which one I'd rather my brand be, I'd rather her be the pretty girl in the black dress.
Sure. I have a rebuttal to that. I'm wondering if anybody else has wanted to chime in at this moment.
Well, I have a fun fact. Apple was just the first company to reach a $1 trillion value.
They definitively were.
Yep.
Good work, Apple.
That's a fun fact.
And they do not try and shill price of I could get you this Apple for super cheap. They say this computer is sexier than that PC.
See, that right there is a fantastic segue into what is my argument against your previous argument. So,
Please.
So I would consider, fair Mr. Judge, that it's not necessarily apples to apples to portray one of these arguments being, or how about this? One of these camps being done very well and one of these camps being done very poorly, because there is very horrible salespeople. In fact, most salespeople that are commonly encountered by a buyer are not good at their job. I would say that. That's why it's one of the highest turnover rates of any job, any white-collar job that there is, right? Mm-hmm. A definitive fact, I don't need a statistic to tell me that salespeople in general are the worst. However, a company saying, hey, you, in bright yellow and purple blinking letters in all caps Arial font, click here, check this out, bling, blong, bling, blong. I'm never in a billion years going to think, I wonder what that guy sells. Yeah. I'm never going to buy it. Yeah. So that could be an example of advertising done poorly. Very poorly, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, there's always the video of the fat guy falling down the stairs, right? Yes. That says, click on our stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the very sexy multi-million-dollar, directed by a savant commercial that Apple is going to put out that's going to be the sexy high school girl in the black dress, right?
Yes.
So I would argue this. Sales, if done actually properly, in the way that people with any longevity in the industry do it, you don't feel that you're being sold. You feel that a value is being communicated to you, and you feel completely in control.
So it's Stockholm Syndrome is what you're saying.
Why not?
My victims have fallen in love with me.
Well, I'm not creating an alternative reality, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
And also, so there's a common mantra in sales that's, I don't know if it's common anymore, but in the 90s it was very common, that perception is reality, right? We've all heard that expression.
Sure.
Which is such an arrogant expression to me.
Mm-hmm. In no way is that an arrogant expression.
I think it's the most arrogant expression that there could possibly be.
It is the truest thing I have ever said.
So for a speaker to say, what I decide is true is therefore true, isn't an arrogant statement.
No, because you're only aware of your own perspective. Just like the iPhone users truly believe it is 100% fact that the iPhone is the best phone on the market. And the Android users are equally as acerbic that their phone is way faster and the iPhone has no business even being sold, and the iTunes market being totally locked down is garbage. So
sure, to the short fused, I suppose that's valid, right?
We all have our we've only lived out our own experience.
Sure, but experience and perception, I feel, my argument is this. For me to say everything that I know is the extent of what is real.
That's all the reality you have.
I can't say
you haven't lived in a different country or Antarctica or in 5,000 years ago. We've all lived out our lifespan to the fullest of its experience level, to where that is now our lens of reality. Our perception can't not be our reality.
But if I don't know where the edge of the universe is, but in fact, does that mean there is not an edge of the universe?
As far as we're concerned, it is.
We've gone.
We're way off the deep end.
No, just like we.
This is getting like.
Do you believe in flat Earth?
Yeah.
No, but you
flat
can't.
universe.
Like
Jacob.
for instance.
Oh, sorry.
I think this conversation is turning me into a flat earther.
Well, no, I'm saying like. But you can't even argue something that's outside of your own knowledge base, because it's not part of your included item set within your own head.
I see what you're getting at. I think we have a semantics difference in our interpretation of that statement. So I don't disagree with. So I'm saying I agree with you.
Oh, okay,
with the argument that you're making.
Me too.
I know you do. I can see it in the fire in your eyeballs. No, we had a great point that we were making before all this nonsense. Anybody remember what it was?
You said perception is not reality.
But before that, I said something else.
I think I remember if you told me.
Well, here's the point. Oh, I remember. I said that a good salesperson is not taking control away from the buyer, from the prospect, but a bad salesperson is going to try to steamroll their way into forcing someone to make a decision, right? They're going to use urgency. They're going to use false urgency, right? They're going to use
got to make a decision today. You know, this promotion
Gotta
only it
set the
ends
timer.
today.
Right,
It ends
exactly.
today. Every salesperson that has come to my house and like at my new house, there are a lot of them because we show up on lists.
So
Every one of them has said that their promotion has ended that day.
Yeah, we're running a promotion that today
Right.
only.
and maybe my father taught me well. My father always said to every salesperson, "I don't make any decision in one day, so I'm not your buyer." And then they go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! What if it was tomorrow?" And he said, "Well, then you're lying." And then he would get a good deal. But that's because my dad was a very bad salesman for a very long time, so he knows bad salesman language. Let me give you an example from a real world example from myself that happened not very long ago. To I think communicate what I'm getting at in that good sales is actually a symbiotic experience. So a good sales, one of the core values of a good salesperson has to be integrity. You have to actually believe what you're doing is valuable. Now, every product has a value to someone. Is it the best value? Is it the best bang for the buck? Is it the best solution in the market? That's not really under your control, right? So what you can do to have a good integrity and to have a clear conscience, as I do, is to simply communicate any objection that a customer could have to your product. You bring it up first. So we went to a nonprofit religious organization in a city that we are in right now, whose name I shall not use. But I spoke with some people who had to get rid of a vendor that they were using to fulfill a service that we sell. They had to get rid of their IT guy because he sucked.
Nice.
Okay. So we went in and they said, well, obviously we're nonprofit, blah, blah, blah. We need to go value is everything to us, cost is everything to us. Here's the first thing I said. I promise you I will be the most expensive quote that you get.
Is that what you told him?
Those exact words. And there was even longer silence than that after I said it in the room.
Nice.
And Jacob, you can attest to this, that I really say this.
All the time.
All the time. I say it almost every single time.
You say,
He
I'm going
actually
to be the most
trained me
expensive.
to say that.
As in his training, when I train Jacob, you are to instruct them that we are not the cheapest. Because first things first, I'm not going to get into a peeing contest over nickels and dimes. I just not worth it.
Well, and then when somebody beats you on price, all of a sudden there's a service charge and a connection fee.
Yes, exactly. And so we've all done that smoke and mirrors nasty dance that just ends in somebody being upset, right?
Right.
So rather than doing that, I just express right away, I do not intend to be the cheapest. And then they say, okay. And oftentimes the nature of psychology is that a human is going to bail out another human when they're feeling them in distress. So most often the prospect will naturally start defending me for myself. I'll sit in silence while they say, well, but we're not the cheapest either in our industry, but a lot of people work with us because, you got to really have the thing. And integrity is important to us. You got to have and they'll say all the things that they say when a customer tells them you're too expensive.
yeah.
They're going to validate me back to myself. I'm not doing any work. Now, am I manipulating them in the truest form of the word? Yes, I think that I am. In the same way that any conversation is manipulation because you're actually contorting a certain response to someone else, right?
So question for you. In their minds, from their perspective, does their reality telling them that you're not manipulating them?
Yeah, and
So
I see where you're getting
their
at.
perception is definitely real enough to tell them that you're not manipulating
okay,
them.
I'll concede the in a vacuum statement that perception can be reality.
Thank you.
How's that?
Continue.
So the customer says to themselves, "Wow, okay, they're not the cheapest." And then if the conversation dies, I say, "However, just so you know, I do bring on new customers every month," which is a true statement. And then I say, "Why do you think that is?" So now what I'm actually doing as a salesperson is I'm letting the prospect communicate to me what the most important things about the product are from their perspective, because I don't know what they want. They know what they want. So why would I tell them what they want when I could ask them what they want?
There you go.
So, am I being evil? Am I being a Sith Lord? No, I'm telling right now on a podcast what I'm doing. And I'll probably give some of my customers this link. I probably will. And all of a sudden they're communicating their value back to me. I'm writing it down. Oh, you think I have timely service? Oh, you think I have the best customer service? Whatever, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't think of any other examples.
But for instance,
For instance, things of that nature. So with this church, going back to my example, I told them that. And they said, okay, well, that might be an issue for us. I said, that might be. This might be a dead end. Aren't you glad we're finding that out now?
Aren't
I said, I would rather we find that out now than we do a song and dance, and then in 6 weeks I go, oh, by the way, I'm super expensive. Is that going to be okay because you laugh at all my jokes?
Yeah.
Right? Because relationship sales, as I mentioned in my opening statement, was how I sold when I was 18 years old, and I didn't know anything. You have no life experience. 18-year-olds don't know how to talk to a business owner. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can communicate maybe a value for a product. They're a great, they should be getting signatures outside of sporting events on clipboards, but they shouldn't be selling products to CEOs. They don't have any life experience. They don't know what's important to people.
That is one thing that I've never enjoyed about when I get a cold call from a salesman on my cell phone trying to sell me who knows what. They always open with so how was your weekend? Or, you see that sports game?
Right.
They try to open up with some fake trying to make a connection with me, be my friend statement. I'm like,
so disingenuous.
Trying to be my friend. You don't know me. No, I don't even observe the weekend.
And I'm horribly cruel to those people too. Horribly. No patience for it. No patience. You think Bach went to children's concerts? No, he didn't.
No,
he booed them off the stage.
I hate it when people cold call me. It's the worst.
And that's what you do for a
Says the
living
guy
now.
who's a
then-
professional cold caller.
Yeah.
I make 100 calls a day.
So let me get this straight. Sales is appropriate or needed for if you're selling services.
Well, no, here's the thing. When you go
wasn't
on
done.
Apple's website and it's so beautiful, and you get Apple,
And
you don't get Apple flyers. There's no Apple flyers.
No.
Whatever.
Emails.
Emails, all that good stuff. And you
Electronic
go
flyers.
into the Apple store, would we consider those blue shirts salesmen? Salespeople?
That's what they consider themselves, yeah.
Yeah.
My reality would indicate that they are not salespeople, that they are definitely red shirts in blue shirts. But if they want to refer to themselves as the misnomer of salespeople, then that's fine. They go get things out of the back or bring my broken phone into the back.
They're a vending machine.
Thank you.
Hold on.
They are a talking red box.
Yeah.
But before that, so there's salesmen are needed for if you're selling a service. Because you can't Justin can't put dancing salesmen in white on a commercial.
Yes, I can.
So is there
And
a
then
converse to that? Or-
Yes, so advertising is good for or only needed for products. So you're
Not
selling
true.
you're selling a product, you could
Yeah.
your only needed is advertising.
He's breaking it down by product category, and it's not true.
To be fair, we have stuck to that law in this conversation so far, but that's not actual. I wouldn't actually say that that's entirely true.
So-
And I also wouldn't say that sales is good for a small business until you can afford big boy advertising.
Okay, so may I?
Absolutely. You
Okay,
can.
so here's the great thing that technology has done since the birth of the internet and connectivity and the new communication platforms that have erupted onto the scene is people like social influencers on YouTube or Instagram are now more watched than primetime television, or things like Pinterest and Facebook and Instagram. Obviously some go in and out of vogue, but there are all these platforms that are absolutely 100% free to use. And the only reason that certain people have more views than others, or they have more eyeballs that would potentially want to buy their product or service than others, is because they're interesting. So if you have basically that social influencer is in advertising, they're advertising themselves. So when they get in there, they're like, this is why you want to continue watching. They're running a features and benefits ad for why you continue subscribing. Why should I click this button for this YouTube video? So when you have all these platforms that are 100% free, and you have something that people will ultimately want, it's up to the level of creative design or creative effort that you're willing to communicate out into the world. That, like, for instance, JP Sears has a huge following, but it's just one guy with a garter around his head talking about whatever weird zeitgeisty, woo-woo is currently in the world.
Who's JP Sears?
JP Sears
No
is the
idea.
guy that talks about like coconut oil and essential oils with the long red hair.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you.
So we've all seen Mr.
Ultra
Long
spiritual.
Red Hair, ultra spiritual. He has no superpowers. He was just creative enough. So if JP Sears wanted to sell us all his line of, t-shirts or books or whatever,
Or essential oils.
all of a sudden, and in this new world where there's a bazillion free platforms with which to find people, and these platforms that you can advertise on for free, never sleep, never go to bed, find people in their bed. These platforms all have algorithms built into them to make sure that people that like what you're selling find you, because that's how they can continue to keep you there, is you find what's interesting to you. So now you have basically you're leveraging these multi-million-dollar companies that we're saying are too big for people with no scale to access, and yet they've opened up their platform to any poor person that has no money and wants to reach out to people. And it's available 24/7, on demand, searchable by the best search algorithms that any of us could ever hope to build ourselves. And all we have to do is be fascinating, and people will find our product or service.
Well, what about when you have I open up a YouTube video. I'm about to watch some people play Minecraft.
Yes.
And an advertisement pops up, and it's a video of someone standing there selling me their product, doing a sales pitch. What is that? Is that sales or is that advertising?
That's advertising.
Is that a salesman on an advertisement?
Is that both?
That's advertising.
There's a chicken eating an egg.
It's good for them.
The Ouroboros has completely swallowed its own tail and excreted an egg.
The egg doesn't roll off the left or the right. It gets split in half.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happens is you have that man communicating it happens to be a sales pitch, but it's held within the confines, the superstructure of an ad. And if that ad is just somebody standing there just blandly reading the features and benefits of the product, nobody wants to watch it. But there are definitely those successful
So you
ads
need like a good salesman
that you
in
don't
your ad?
click. If you don't click skip ad and you know who paid for that ad, it's a great ad. And all of a sudden that ad is amusing and it endears you to the product. Like all the black and white Gatorade ads with the multicolored Gatorade sweat, and then the just do it at the end. We've all, exactly, or the Target ads where you just see the red microphone. You have now brand impression. You're like, oh, dude, I love all those $1 knickknacks when I walk in the door. You remember Target. They don't even show you the logo. You just see the red mic. And there's all of these platforms that you or any of us could use at any time for free to get people to understand that our brand means this, and they have a brand impression, and now their reality has been affected by your brand. Anytime, day or night, you've joined them for breakfast and coffee, and you're establishing a relationship with them on their YouTube channel, doing what they would do throughout their day for free.
Justin, give me an example of a service, a technician service, something that you've done with advertising.
Mike Diamond, Smell Good Plumber.
But that's precisely. Everybody's heard of Mike Diamond, and everybody knows his dumb line
No, give me a good one. Like someone everyone's heard of. Like not just like, oh yeah, these, like a big thing.
You haven't heard
Like
of
a national company?
Yeah.
Like Remax or like we'll pick you up. Enterprise, we pick you up. Are you talking like a slogan?
Yeah, sure. That's a service.
Of a service-based brand that has to, or even...
I'll give you one. I'll give you one that was hook, line, and sinker. My very first watch, Dollar Shave Club.
It's a service.
Oh my gosh.
Very first watch of that video. I think I bought it before it was over.
That is
click.
That's really a product.
Is
No,
it
it's
though? It was but they as a service a product. It wasn't about the razor blade.
I didn't buy it.
You could
because
order
the
that
razor
razor
blade was
blade on
good.
Amazon yourself.
Yeah, but they as a service it. They turned it into a recurring business model, and they are still doing very well. And my last name is Gillette, spelled Illette, and I stopped using Gillette razor blades that day.
Just done.
I actually liked that commercial so much, I made my wife start using Dollar Shave Club razors to shave her legs, just so I could live vicariously through her and use their products.
This was before you had a beard?
Well, I don't shave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has a laziness growing on his face.
Yeah, I don't actually enjoy having a beard. I just hate shaving.
He's not growing a beard. He's just lazy.
Yeah.
He's just not growing a beard.
Yes.
There.
That's exactly.
There's just zero initiative or proactivity here. This has nothing to do with growing a beard.
Well, it looks great.
Thanks.
But Dollar Shave Club, they got me, and it was sure okay. Look, it was fun, it was kitschy, it was whatever, right? Cool. But when you have a product that doesn't require any understanding, when you're selling a little red button that beeps, you don't need any salespeople. In the same way that you could completely autonomize your entire business. A robot could run your business, and a robot could take random polls and query data from a search algorithm of who looks at what, automatically generate your target demographics for you, and you could completely randomize, take all the humans out of advertisement. Sales is, I believe this, and it might be throwing the gauntlet down, but this is the white-collar job that will never, ever lose to artificial intelligence.
Or is artificial intelligence just the ultimate salesman?
So you don't think that an auto dialer can call you, a bot with a speech API could call you up?
I don't mean, okay, obviously
know how to
low-level robots can sell low-level products.
Sure.
But, okay, so my brother works in high-level IT, works for a reseller. They don't originate any products, no R&D, no patents, and they do $4 billion a year selling other people's stuff, okay? All added juice that if you went directly to the source, you could probably have saved that $4 billion a year, and that's what they do. These salespeople start at high six-figure salaries, most of them with no degrees, no after-high school experience whatsoever, simply sales and communication experience.
Nice.
Most of them entrepreneurial, most of them business owners. There's an M Club in this company. They call it the M Club. It means the $1 Million Club. Anybody who makes more than $1 million a year. And these are people selling products to other people. They have a huge knowledge base of all things hardware, software. They go to an enterprise level company that says, yeah, I have 6.8 petabytes of data. I'd like it to be in more than one place at once. What can you do for me? I don't want to put them in tapes in the Iron Mountain anymore. What can you do? And Alexa is never going to make that $1 million sale. Never.
Now, so the question for you, based upon that, is as the demographics are getting younger and younger, and we have the millennial generation as it's risen into its, I would say, prime, I guess?
Yeah.
We're at the,
we peaked early.
The millennials aren't necessarily like upper management, but they're I would call us the lower management generation right now.
Our parents are the upper management, so we're going to run the show.
Yeah. Right. So, but then you have the Gen Zers, which are the high schoolers that we're kicking around right now. So you have these two generations that have face-to-face conversations and pick up the phone and have a phone conversation less and less. This is the zero ability to have a conversation generation, especially Gen Z, where the stare at your phone generation. But they will, for instance, sit there and read Twitter or Reddit for hours. So you have a generation shift where people are less and less willing to have a face-to-face relationship, but they're definitely willing to have a relationship with their phone and whatever information is there, or sit and watch.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't buy this kind of slippery slope into technology's mouth kind of idea that human interaction is never going to be valuable in the future. I struggle with it.
Sears said the same thing.
Sears, the department store?
The department store that's now completely defunct.
That just made poor decisions and not appropriating enough funding to the appropriate departments in this case? Or what? I mean, Sears who I've seen probably more Sears ads than as many Sears ads as Macy's ads in my life.
Absolutely. But you have Sears, who was the BMOC as far as a huge retail space. Like the Sears catalog was how to buy things. There would be towns that would have a storefront that would have a table, and a Sears catalog,
Right.
and you would sit there and order things, and they would come in on Sears Prime 4 to 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
So of their day, Sears had the marketplace. It was all Sears. They were Amazon. How did Amazon all of a sudden become Amazon under the shadow of Sears that owned everything?
Okay, I get you. So, sure. But how are you going to take an argument away from somebody that it's because the salesperson wasn't sufficient and Amazon could do it while I was sitting on the toilet?
Because you were saying that we're not going to fall into the open maw of technology.
Oh, I see.
And I'm saying that there have been plenty of companies that, if you're just a little bit too slow, you disappear. Like IBM disappeared into superior technology, and Sears.
Sure.
And we've seen it time and time again where if you pivot a minute too slow, if you get that you're about to die, you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, but from speaking from a debate standpoint, this is sort of a correlation causation argument, right? How can we really attribute that to the merits in the marketplace for advertising rather than just slow market share development, right? I mean, Sears, by the way, is still in business because of their distribution channels.
Yes.
They took over the third-party logistics. So a lot of these large department stores actually use Sears to transport and install and build the furniture on site at the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So Sears, yeah, they took a pivot maybe for the worse, less in the customer's eye, but they're really more of they're a third-party B2C kind of contractor now more than they are a department store. But I mean, yeah, it was Bon Marché, and then it was Marché, and then it was Macy's, and they're still-ish doing fine, not great. But I understand what you're saying. I just don't think that kind of singular argument can really be, because remember, a department store employee is not a salesperson, right?
Well, sure. I'm simply indicating trends where things are definitely trending away. Like the mall, the golden age of the mall has now given way to the golden age of we buy all our Christmas presents on Amazon.
Right.
So that would be the trend toward away from going to the store and the salesperson at American Eagle says, oh, what size jeans would you like? As opposed to just going on AmericanEagle.com and clicking buy. And you have all of the product information based upon the wonderful site design on AmericanEagle.com. And you're like, she looks just like me. Like, for instance, the trend to advertise without makeup or Photoshop at all. It's just, this is what you see, and normal people look like this because American Eagle jeans have always trended fatter than any other jeans, and they make me feel good about myself. So that's an excellent ad for that company, where you see those. Hey, that's what I look like that person. I would like to buy these jeans now. Click buy. So as we trend towards technology, and most people trend, there's a lot of customer base now that goes towards whatever company they have the most elegant experience online with, as opposed to which one is the biggest or the best or the cheap. It's who can I find the easiest on these accessibility apps like Yelp and DoorDash. And so it's those companies that are willing to communicate through the enriched channels that have flourished. Like Uber has now completely crushed out. And how do we decide? How does our reality tell us which one's better between Uber or Lyft? Right.
It's so interesting that all of your examples are B2C. Almost all of your examples are that means business to consumer to the layman,
which is so weird because
I wasn't sure.
Well, and the reason for that is because I have over 10 years experience in B2B advertising, but it's a little more difficult to communicate that to somebody that's not in. Most of their experience is with a B2C company.
Sure.
That would be business to consumer.
Yes.
As opposed to business to business. Sorry.
Right.
It's a little bit more difficult to articulate because what people experience every day, like for instance, even if we sell to other businesses on a B2B marketplace, even we in our own lives all of a sudden go back, and if we're looking for something, we still get on Amazon and all of these enriched platforms.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So then, to put it in from a consumer's perspective, right? Let's all put on our consumer's glasses for a moment. And okay, now you have to buy something from a company, right? And you you know you're going to interact with a person, right? You go on the website and it says price. Please call for details.
Call for details.
Right, and you go, oh crap, okay, I got to call.
That means it's the expensive one.
Or and then blip blip, a little chat pops up and goes, hey, what can I do for you? And by the way, more and more of those messages are actually being live manned, and they're not all hi, how can I help you? It's hey, so what are you looking at, right? And it's some guy sitting somewhere who is a subject matter expert, and he's a salesperson. I had this experience on AT&T the other day, and I bought some things that I won't explain. But okay, in a perfect world, as a consumer, a person reaches out to you and goes, "Hey, what are you looking for?" And you say, because you're not face to face with them in this example, we're doing this electronically, right? So we take those social nerves away that everybody in the world seems to have. Okay, I need this product. Okay, what do you need that product for? Well, I need to accomplish X, Y, and Z. Oh, okay. Well, have you considered this other product, which you might not have seen because we weren't running an ad for it, but it's actually made specifically for the thing you just requested. By the way, it's the same price. Okay, here's the link. Done. That would be a very positive experience.
Absolutely.
Sure. I just created a scenario in a perfect world for me.
I just picked up my Legos and stacked them in such a way that
right. Well, but
as have I.
Yes. Right? So my point is that even from the B2C level, right, the salesperson can adapt with the trending technology just the same as an advertising campaign can. They are going to use different channels to engage with people. More and more business is done via chat, via email. But I can't stress enough how much business will always be done on the phone. Businesses, they can't get rid of their phone. They know that. They say, I have to buy new phones. I don't even like using them, but I can't get rid of them because I have to use phones.
Like their fax machine.
Like their fax machine. Yeah, I still got the one, whatever, the one guy.
Fax line.
I hate fax
or when
machines.
I have to do income verification to the IRS, the IRS doesn't take PDFs. They only take faxes.
My gosh, can we just abolish the government? Like, that's so backwards.
We should start our
and
own
awful.
government.
Right? We should.
The Brainards and Gillette Coalition.
They're like, so the one thing that nobody else uses is the one thing that everybody has to use to appease Uncle Sam.
Right.
Like, we've all decided, all 300 million of us are like, faxing sucks. I want to use my cell phone for everything.
Good thing we have an eFax portal at verticalcomputers.com.
Rock and roll.
Anyway, well, I don't know that if I made my point or not, but you're not humiliated yet, so I just feel like I can't relent.
That's okay.
How do you feel, Josiah and Jordan? What would you?
Here's what I've taken away from this. If you're a billion-dollar company
That sells products, you don't need a sales team. But if you... Or you don't need a present sales team.
Sure. If you sell services or anything that isn't so cut and dry that you could like list it in a paragraph, like this is the features list for this thing. You know, if you have a customizable, like if you
let's say
sell custom built computers or something, you know, something like that would be much better done by a salesperson that could get a feel for what you need out of your computer, especially if you don't know exactly what you want and you're like, I just want my computer to play this game.
So you're saying that if you're not a $1 billion person and you only have access, you're not a $1 billion company that has tons of exposure, and there happens to be heavily targeted tech breakdowns, computer tear aparts or build-ups videos.
Yeah, but I don't want to spend how many hours watching and learning all this stuff. I just know I'm a consumer. I want to call some guy and have him tell me, oh yeah, this is what we should build for you. This will get exactly what you're describing done.
That's true. I do take advantage of sales guys.
I love calling a sales guy.
Yeah, because I go, hey, I need this, and I don't have time to find it. If you want the sale, go find it.
Yeah,
but the reason you know you want that, the reason you called that sales guy, I will say the chicken.
Because I have a relationship with
this is the chicken, is that person has already sat on YouTube and social media for hours and decided and made brand decisions based upon his consumption of all of that online content.
It's because he has years of
and
experience.
fallen in love
in the
with
industry.
NVIDIA over ATI or AMD or whoever.
Or he got one of these. Jacob, answer the phone.
Hello.
Hello?
That
Yeah.
would be you, Jacob.
Yeah, hey, is it Jacob?
This is he.
Hey, it's Brian over at Vertical. How you been?
Oh, good.
Good. Hey, listen, I don't know if we need to be talking. Can I take about 15, 20 seconds, tell you why I called, and then at the end of that, you can feel free to hang up. Is that fair?
Okay.
All right. Were you sure?
Sure.
Okay. Well, listen, thanks. Again, my name's Brian. I work with a company called Vertical. Here's why I'm calling you, okay? Typically, people who are in this industry that I am not going to make up for this example, they work with a business like mine because they're experiencing one of the following frustrations, X, Y, and Z. I don't suppose you all having any of those issues.
No.
Okay, so commonly also when you are actually looking for a specific part for your computer, you never have any frustration about which socket type to use for your processor, what kind of, how fast of a motherboard you need, anything
No,
like
not
that.
at all. I spend 16 hours on YouTube every day.
Oh, okay, that
Yeah.
sounds like expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, the boss must not like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Right, okay. I didn't realize I was talking to a 12-year-old kid without a job in this example. So the argument I was trying to make is, or he was approached by an outbound, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, relentless, stone-foreheaded salesperson who is trained keenly in the art of listening, more than a psychiatrist, more than a mother. He listens like his life depends on it, like an animal in the woods. And he can convert any cold conversation with a person who obviously has to have some qualifying need for the product. And he finds it in 30 seconds. All right?
Right.
Then he can hang up. Sure. Guess how much that costs that business owner? Whatever half of 1 minute per minimum wage that you pay that guy.
Yeah.
Right? So I understand what you're saying. The point you're trying to make is that market exposure is accessed through advertising, and that you can leverage all these free platforms. You can get much more leveraging with an advertisement than you could get. It's not really leveraging anything one phone number at a time. That's the opposite of leverage. That is swimming upstream. However, it is scientifically, from all creation, the most tried and true way to organically grow a native local client base. So advertising, absolutely key. Advertising is the gravy, is what we call it in sales. The inbound is gravy, but you got to hit your quota on outbound. You have to find people who need what you do. Jacob has generated, I want to say,
We'll bleep it out.
the rough numbers are, I'll give you a percentage. The rough numbers are about 18% annual recurring revenue growth year over year. Ice cold leads. We're talking couldn't be colder. And when he started, he couldn't carry a conversation in a bucket on the phone. Okay.
Still can't.
So
Have you heard Jacob's episode on the show?
we trained. Was it before me?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
See, we complete each other. He knows things. I know how to talk about things that I don't understand. So the two of us, we seem to work.
I
Yeah.
have a brain. Brian's pretty.
Brian's the pretty girl at the prom.
Hey, that's me.
Brian's like my advertising.
So 18%, and that's not a made up figure. And we weren't trading in a log cabin before that. We were still doing all right.
So one out of every $4.50.
Yes, was found from an ice cold lead from a guy sitting in the dark in his underwear.
And is that normal for your sales team? Is Jacob is he just is that the average?
Yeah, so I can't entirely say because the rest of my sales team hasn't been on long enough because we have a very long sales cycle.
Okay.
So Jacob is definitely a good performer. I would say average is probably a little under that, probably 10%.
Okay.
At this point, well, more than that. 10 to 15% they're going to increase our annual gross. Obviously, percentage will shrink over time, but the point is that I know when Jacob makes X amount of phone calls, he will find X amount of interest. When he finds X amount of interest, he will convert that into X amount of actual purchases. And as his knowledge and expertise goes up, as his ability to listen goes up, as his ability to sell to the C-suite, to the guys who only want to talk to guys who are good at what they do, his average deal size has gotten bigger, bigger, bigger.
Sure.
I know that when I was in catering, 100% year over year, I doubled my business 2 years in a row.
Sure.
So I turned $50,000 a year into $250,000 a year in 24 months with zero support, just a kid on the street.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not saying advertising isn't valuable.
No. So my only argument to that
Yeah.
would be that process goes about as fast as, well, we were using the example of Jacob.
Yep.
That goes about as fast as Jacob could dial a phone and have a conversation with people. Where now that we have a device that sits in everyone's pocket and sleeps next to them on the pillow, and they wake up with it, and then they hop onto their Instagram every single day. They start the morning with a cup of coffee, and let's see what Susie Joe Nothing that dances and sings to music on Instagram. Let's see what they did and posted. And then if you're just in that reel, if you're part of them scrolling up, if you're just part of their life, then all of a sudden you're just you're not a cold call. You're not somebody disrupting their day. You're part of it. And now your brand is officially part of their coffee and cereal in the morning. And then they wake up with you. They're like, oh, hi, it's them. I need that service that he has. You know what?
Do you want to sell to the guy that's too dumb to use ad blocker, though? I mean, I don't see any ads.
But also, I did get robbed by an ad.
You got robbed by an ad?
I did.
Well, the free Bahama cruise wasn't all it cracked up to be, was it?
You're not allowed to talk to them unless you're over 35.
Okay.
I did continue to talk to them. I was like, yeah, I want that cruise. They're like, oh, I got you 35. I was like, nope. They're like, okay, bye.
Yep.
So,
They lose
not that. Tried that. But the other day, I was on Instagram past midnight and never order anything past midnight. And I was scrolling through. I was like, that is a sweet scanner. It's called the Pup Scanner. I don't know if you've seen it, but it goes...
What does it do?
But it goes on and has a little, like, laser.
Oh, that thing on mom and dad's counter?
No,
Did you
not
buy
that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what came.
Oh,
Let me
boy.
get there. So it has a little laser that goes around what you're scanning, takes a picture, uploads it to wherever you told it to upload to automatically. Just boop. Great.
Sounds really cool.
So then in the mail, they're like, hey, we sent this to you. It was one of those advertisements that like, hey, you only have an hour or else the price goes back up. So I was like, all right, cool. That's great. That's a great product. It's brand new. Click, order, send here, boom, done. I get it like 10 days later, and it's some cheap Chinese knockoff scanner. Doesn't even work. I'm like, oh, gosh.
And now you don't have a sales guy you could call and yell at
Nope.
for selling you some piece of garbage.
Because that was just on an advertisement from Instagram that robbed me.
It's true.
Just
Whenever
then.
I see an advertisement on Instagram trying to sell me a product, I pretty much ignore it because there's so much trash nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, no. The problem being
What I'm trying to say is
great thing-
advertisements are trash.
Yeah. And let's be done. Okay, play the song.
But and Brian has
one thing,
also
one thing.
conceded that there is the bad salesmen are trash as well.
Sure.
So with the advertising, because it can proliferate beyond a one-to-one relationship, is now you can meet people and establish a relationship with people that you wouldn't even know to call or think to call, where they call you because they're like, hey, I searched for your service on Google. You popped up on the first pop-up on Google in the ad, and I clicked on you guys, saw great things on your website. Please sell me this product.
And hopefully the sales guys could convert.
But here's the thing.
It's so sweet. It's like
That's
they're
all
coming
inbound
together.
That's all inbound stuff, and that's great, and I'll take it all day long. Please, more.
Yeah. You got it.
Jacob's going to justify his hours here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I need to get it all in right now. Here it is. But what about all the people that I've called that had no idea they wanted something? They would have never went on Google and searched for us.
You have no ad presence.
They didn't know they needed help.
They don't know what an MSP is.
Correct.
They don't know the value prop because they've never actually used us.
They don't know what VoIP is. They have no idea.
Exactly. But again, you have no ad presence, which and here allow me to explain.
There's only ad presence if you search for that garbage.
No, because
True, because all the ads are targeted.
Yeah.
using demographics and psychographics, because everybody has poured all of their personal
what's a
information.
psychic graphic?
I'm glad you asked. So a psychographic is not a demographic. It is like you're looking for people who like boats or like horses, things that they think about or are already interested in. And because, unlike the print world that was harder to find out who was into these things, we already have massive online aggregators where we click like on things all day and they go into a huge database where we could collect what those people already like. So I could tell you who's in Chino, who's a small business with 1 to 5 or 10 to 20 people that makes X number of dollars a year, that's a woman, that so I can already tell you a lot about you to find that ad in that town. So yes, who are these people? And well, we don't know who send the ad out to. Guess what? We have massive online platforms that know exactly where to find these people, because those people, in their non-superhero life, they take off their cape of their business world and they put on their slippers and get on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, etc., Pinterest. And as many people as I've asked, I've said, so before you do something to your house, where do you go? And 9 times out of 10, they're on Pinterest to go look at cute things before they spend any money on anything for their house. So if all of a sudden, if I'm trying to sell things for the house, I flood Facebook for free.
Yeah, but that's not what Jacob was saying. He was saying somebody who doesn't know they need anything.
They think their phones are fine.
Yes.
Somebody not thinking about their house.
They're not even
Exactly.
searching for phones.
Yep.
No. But
So,
they...
new market, brand new customer.
Yes, exactly. So, but we do know this person is not, let's use the example of phones, and they don't know that they need a phone, but you know they do. So you
we
build
don't.
a targeted ad campaign, but you do know everybody needs what you're selling. Okay.
Yeah.
You
And
can't
you
target,
know,
you can't target everybody.
no, you know that
I get what you're saying.
you
Our
can
target customer, maybe.
Your target customer is a small business that is within this county or
Right.
within this lower half of the state that you're willing. How far can I drive in a day? So that's the people that and you can geotag the ad so that it only shows up for people that have that business size in this area of the state that you wouldn't even or haven't already thought of.
Right.
And you can make sure that when they either are just doing whatever they would do normally, if I'm just hanging out on YouTube,
Right.
then YouTube goes out of its way to find what I'm selling with that person.
But see, I
And then
just-
what's the
I
ad's
need
going to
more-
say? Like, need VoIP?
I need more clash in this
person
argument,
says
though,
no.
because the value of what you're saying is this. The point is much easier leverage, much wiser client base, much lower conversion rate. Obviously, whenever you're having a higher
net.
scale, it's a wide net, right?
Broad brush.
But ultimately, if I were to make a closing statement, it would be that advertising is a fantastic tool that generates to a salesperson what is known as leads.
Low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit, interest, right? Pain, actual need, right? So then what the salesperson's job is to go ahead and convert that into dollars for the company. So we can't use e-commerce because there is zero salesperson in e-commerce. So that's not really, it's a null argument for the death match.
That it just is on autopilot and completely nullifies one side of the argument. I suppose that is a null argument.
That's like saying who's the best American player on the Korean football team. There's no American player on the Korean football team. We can't make that argument, right? So all we can do is compare all the Koreans. So I can't say that sales versus advertising is better for the e-commerce space. Unfortunately, that's not really something I'm allowed to do. I can say, yeah, for the conglomerate national chains that have already own everything and that are basically the MLM of the advertising space, who Google doesn't sell anything and they make more money than any of us because people like you have been convincing all of us that we need to be throwing our money at them, right? When they could just pay some kid minimum wage to be doing the cold dials and they don't have to pay the multi-level marketing advertising agency
To
that
go
says,
find to
we
allow
own everyone's soul, so why don't you come and buy it from us, right? But the problem is this. Advertising ultimately has to be converted, which is where sales comes into play. It's making a salesperson's job easier, but if you don't have a salesperson to do it, it can't be done.
That's great.
All right.
All right. Well,
We really need to end because it's been, so long now?
yeah.
do we have an hour?
We have over an hour.
Yeah, we're probably at like an hour and a half
Thank you,
or something.
Brian. God bless you.
I could
didn't-
go all day.
I didn't have a clock, so I'm like, are we gonna go the distance on this thing?
Super did it.
'Cause
we
they're-
did it. We made it.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Burr, burr, burr. Just round 1. Draw.
And next week, are penguins really birds?
You don't even know.
I guess you'll have to come back and find out.
And if you need IT support or phone service.
And if you have any suggestions for a death match you would like to see fought out or something that you believe in, then please call or Facebook or email us and let us know what you want to see slugged out, because I'd love that.
Don't call us.
Remember, the earth is round, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Brian, say bye.
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 Love ya.
Love you too.
It was really weird to see Justin like violently wave his hands at Brian to try to get him to say bye.
Go ahead.
Yeah, how was I the one that picked up on that?
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.